Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with a little bit of a short one here on the Clips channel because today Singapore has finally been updated inside F1 23. Of course, for those of you that don't know, the Singapore track layout for the real-life Grand Prix in just under a month's time has actually been altered for the first time since the Grand Prix's inception all the way back in 2008. So today what we're going to do is just obviously see what the new track changes are like. Obviously we'll do one lap of time trial, compare it to the old version of the track, and then we'll just jump into a little 5-lap race there. So if we head over then to Singapore, of course we'll wait and see if it's been updated on the track map. Yes, it has. And that actually gives us a fantastic example then. So at the bottom of your screen, you can see what the track now actually looks like. On the left-hand side, you can see where the two chicanes have been removed from then. So very, very interesting, of course. How it's going to affect racing in just a couple of weeks' time, we don't quite know just yet. But of course, as we jump into this though, if you're new around here on my Clips channel, we basically just do some random stuff that of course isn't really big enough to make a proper video out of. Get yourself subscribed. We'd love to try and hit 10,000 subscribers here on the channel. Of course, we do some little videos from time to time. You know, they're a bit more chill, a bit more fun and everything like that. But anyway, let's head out then on to, actually, let's quickly see first of all whether the time trial leaderboards have been wiped. We'll know based on how few players there are. Yep, 3,000 players, so lap time's about 5-6 seconds quicker, and immediately you can see, obviously, as we head down in towards the final few corners where those changes have been made. Let's just try and do a lap then, and of course, no point showcasing you the rest of Singapore. I don't think anything else has changed around this venue. We'll just wait until we're back around that part of the track. Well, I must admit, very, very weird, of course, doing Singapore in the day inside F1 23. They clearly have made some other adjustments to, you know, the scenery around this venue, and of course, love looking around the landscape here at Singapore. But of course, you come through then into Sector 3, pretty normal first corner, but then of course, often you're flicking it out quite wide and then trying to cut back in. Now, it is just a flat-out run through there. You can see where we'd often re-emerge from underneath the grandstands, but yeah, completely flat out all the way through. Is it going to be a particularly helpful overtaking zone, though? That is the real question. And I guess the best way we can find out that, then, is by jumping in and doing a 5-lap race.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. We're here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit today, located in the heart of Singapore. The circuit consists of 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right. It's a track that's incredibly technical, so don't expect to see the drivers taking too much of it at full throttle.
Right, well, interesting then, of course, that obviously track map, everything like that has been updated. Crofty needs to get his facts right, though. But anyway, waiting on the grid then, 5 red lights. Of course, this is also the first race I've got inside F1 23 where Daniel Ricciardo is back as well then. But thought we'd start from the rear of the field as Max Verstappen, you know, probably the best driver to have a chance at overtaking with, as, yeah, Ricciardo getting the better of Yuki Tsunoda, of course, wishing him a full and speedy recovery, as clearly Alex Albon, not a fan of Max Verstappen, just swiped across me through the first couple of corners there. But yeah, 19 corners now around the Marina Bay circuit, so I think, you know, it is going to promote some slightly better overtaking. It's certainly going to change the way races are held here as well, of course, because, you know, often that final sector, you know, was really the reason why you have to run so much downforce around this venue. I mean, now you look on the track map, really does seem to be the case that, of course, you know, especially the second half of the lap actually looks very, very high speed for the most part. So it is kind of astounding how just 4 corners can really change the way a racetrack operates there. Of course, one of the other things in the patch, you know, alongside Ricciardo being re-added, McLaren, they've actually had a big performance boost as well, you know, to better represent their pace in real life. I think always with these updates, EA are always a little bit hesitant. You know, if a team makes a big leap forward, you know, sometimes they slip back. So I think EA obviously don't want to make too big of an aggressive adjustment there, you know, make them quite clearly the second fastest team. But through the new section then of the track, I'm hoping we can try and make an overtake at some point through here today. You can see the AI actually go over very, very defensive there, and I think we want to be braking probably just after the 100-meter board, as our teammate Sergio Perez will lead the way then at the end of lap 1. But yeah, I like the fact, you know, they are able to implement more of these track changes inside the game cycle now. Obviously, you know, Singapore did give them plenty of notice for it. You know, other tracks like obviously Barcelona got tweaks and changes and adjustments. It actually had 2. EA never mentioned it, but they tweaked some of the curbing as well after the Spanish Grand Prix a few months ago. So yeah, very, very interesting there. I never even made patch notes, but it was definitely altered after the game released here. Just can we try and get a move then on Daniel Ricciardo? Yes, we can, down around the outside. For those of you wondering as well, for your career modes, Ricciardo will not be implemented unless you start a new career mode. So a little bit of a shame there, but, you know, obviously makes sense as well. You know, otherwise in my series, for example, Daniel Ricciardo would be back at McLaren again, because that's where Nick de Vries has gone. So yeah, you know, little things like that, of course, understandable, but, you know, would have been quite cool to see Danny Rick back in. Not that this is going to be the last F1 23 series I do on the channel either. He will definitely be making his way on to a series at some point in the future then. Are we going to now be able to try and find a move on Kevin Magnussen, of course, lap record holder around this venue. He squeezes me out there actually through the corner. Can we go around the outside of Kevin? Look at that, he's going to try and go defensive on me, but we will be able to get down the inside then. And clearly, if he can get a good enough run off the corner, there is definitely the opportunity to try and go for a move. So I reckon that actually, of course, you know, the game isn't always the greatest indicator of what real life will look like, but there's an opportunity there. I'm amazed it's not a DRS zone, to be honest. I think 4 DRS zones around here would be quite impressive. Maybe they are looking at it in real life. That's not quite the line I needed through turn 1, but I've done the important thing. I've got the overtake done through that section of corners there. As you can see, the McLaren's running up in 4th and I think 7th place there. So clearly their performance has been buffed as well. So yeah, clearly that is working very, very effectively there. But I think that's going to actually be a very, very positive change to Singapore. In terms of obviously track setup and hot lap guides, that sort of thing, of course, I'm nowhere near Singapore just yet in that series over on Matsu and 2 Sim Racing, but I think obviously we are going to see a bit lower wing being run around here. You know, often it's probably mid to high 40s on the wing angles. Now I think it's probably going to be down probably in the 30s still. You know, you have got these complex corners as well. Obviously the first couple of turns as well are very, very high downforce dependent. So I think it is going to be interesting to see, you know, what sort of changes are made and of course what sort of lap times people will be able to get around this venue. I would have thought we'll probably be down in the 1:28 in time trial, which is rather impressive there. Are we going to be able to try and get another run down in towards these final couple of corners? Yuki Tsunoda again trying to go defensive, braking just at the 100-meter board there, and we'll dive it down the inside of the young Japanese driver. But yeah, a good change, I reckon, here to Singapore. I think it makes sense. I quite like it. Let me know, of course, your guys' feelings down in the comments below. And overall, you know, very, very good patch here inside F1 23. You know, a lot of important things being cleared up. There's still a few things, you know, that we're waiting for inside the game. The big one for me is definitely the F2 2023 DLC, which, you know, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I reckon that might come out end of September, maybe in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, you kind of get this huge break after Italy in Formula 2, obviously before the championship finale in Yas Marina, and I'd still love for F3 to be added, but I think that's going to be a few more years away. Honestly, I know I get questioned it a lot because, you know, a lot of the tracks aren't designed for 30 cars, and I think a lot of people will be very unhappy, of course, you know, if F3 got added, and say Singapore is probably a fantastic example of that. You'd never be able to get 30 F3 cars around here in real life. There's not enough space on the grid for them to line up on, so I think a lot of people would be quite upset if they brought the F3 cars to the game and then you couldn't race them around every track. So I can kind of understand, you know, why EA coders, that sort of thing, aren't adding them to the game, and of course, you know, all the problems that would come with even trying to implement it as well. Of course, you never know, maybe the handling model or, you know, the game itself would really break with 30 cars on the track as well. Perhaps it's only really designed to handle 22 at the absolute limit. But of course, you know, F1 24, hoping that's going to see quite a big change to the F1 game as well. So maybe that one, you know, we'll finally get the F3 dream as well. You know, be able to do a full junior to Formula 1 style career mode there. But really getting ahead of myself on this video. Just meant to be showcasing what the new Singapore track does look like. But I'm a fan of it. You know, it's going to be high speed. It's going to allow for a lot more overtaking as well, of course, because, you know, that final sector really did kind of divide the cars, really split them up. And also, from a personal standpoint, it was also very, very AIOP, that final sector. Just with the new handling tweaks to F1 23, it really allowed the AI to do incredibly well. You know, the way they can ride over curbs, which the human player just never quite was able to. So I think it's actually going to give you a fighting chance. Of course, Singapore, it was the reason why I dropped it from this season's calendar inside the F1 My Team career mode as well. So I think that is going to be interesting. You know, it might get added if we do a Season 5. But 5 laps, though, here from Singapore. Fastest lap's been a 1:34.1, so definitely a lot quicker than we've even been able to do in a maxed-out F1 23 car. But rounding our way through the final couple of turns, looks like it's going to be Sergio Perez taking back-to-back victories here at the Singapore Grand Prix. But as we round our way in towards the final couple of turns, though, Hamilton, new fast lap of the day on a 1:32.8. Clearly still got to be careful over some of the curbing, but there we go, though. Singapore, new venue. I quite like it. I think it's going to be good fun. I think it's going to promote some better racing as well, and hopefully that is going to be the same in real life. If you've enjoyed this video, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, like I said, this Clips channel, I kind of just upload random little videos on, so yeah, if you want to see more of that, thank you very much. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters that you can see currently on your screens. If you want to join them from as little as £1 a month, it would be massively appreciated and you help support my work. You also get access to weekly updates from myself with everything going on behind the scenes with the channel. But yeah, a massive thank you to the names you see on your screen, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new video.